Minnesota, what do you have to worry about most with them and whatnot?
I think, with Willis and his ability to play make, I think that's probably the start of it. Battle is so good at moving without the basketball and shooting the basketball and really utilizing that matchup at the four. They spread you out. Their four main guys play almost the entire game, and unless they get in foul trouble, they are going to play, the entire game. So I think it's going to be important for us to, limit their threes, limit what they can get in transition to the best of our ability, and that's really kind of been our deal all year. If we can take care of the basketball and set our defense, we really help ourselves. When we turn the basketball over or we take tough shots, then we put ourselves in a bind. So I think that's going to be first and foremost from our end. But I think those two guys are, really good players, and they really cause problems for people. So you got to give them a lot of attention. But then you can't let like Lowy or Stevens or one of their bigs go off. And that's going to be anytime you're playing at home, and they have a great home court venue. You're going to feel more comfortable. You're going to make more shots. At least it seems so. So just trying to get them and just make them earn everything and make them make tough shots.
Stylistically, anything they do different that maybe you haven't seen a whole lot of yet?
A lot of ISOs. They really try to lock into some matchups, especially with Peyton Willis. They do a good job of trying to search some people out to get the matchups that they want. So I think it's going to be important for us to be able to be clean in what we do and make it hard for them. Like I said, make them earn baskets. Don't let them have a little bit of everything. If they're getting to the rim, they're getting to the free throw line, they're getting clean threes. Now they're kind of getting the smorgasbord of everything that they want. Just make things hard for them, know what they want to do, stay consistent in our rules.
Just the balance. You do a good job of getting leads, but then those leads are getting away. What's the balance as far as teaching and coaching these guys and making sure that, they still hold on to the fact that they can build these leads?
Right. I would say in the first half, our issue has been when we get those leads in the first half, which was another night against Ohio State, is we start to shoot some shots that are pretty questionable, or maybe shoot a shot that's too far out, or get cute on passes. We get away from things that got us that lead. Other night, I think it was just a combination of missing free throws, defensive breakdowns, and then we actually executed a couple times and missed a jump hook, missed a layup, missed an open three. So then when you're not making shots, everything looks like it's a little shaky, when in reality you took a good shot and you just missed it. But we have to do a better job of building those leads also, like where we're missing free throws and we're doing good things, where we're not rewarding ourselves for some of our positive play because we're having empty possessions because we're missing some free throws. And we have to do a better job there. We just have to do a better job at the end of the game of knowing what's going on and defending and staying connected. And we had a couple major breakdowns there at the end. And we have a breakdown against the press in terms of just coming right to the basketball. You got to cut to open areas and get open and separate yourself. So you just, you watch film, you work on it. I think it's more of a question in theory because it has been something that's consistently happened. I think it happens more in college basketball than people realize it, but it still doesn't give you the excuse like, hey, it's happening to everybody, so it's okay. No, it's not okay. You got to try to build your lead, and you got to try to grow off of that. But more than anything, you just have to have a focus on consistent quality play. We have played well to put ourselves in those positions. We just have to do it in longer stretches.
Can you just speak to the importance of the sort of physical tone Zach's been able to set to start games ever since probably Wisconsin?
Yeah. Well, if they call the game the way they say they're supposed to call the game, their rules aren't made for somebody of his size and his strength. So, now he's the outlier. So they don't see it every weekend. You have guys like Kofi Coburn, they're the outliers. Hunter Dickinson, they're the outliers. But we have enough, the refs in our league have enough quality bigs to where they're seeing it a lot. They're seeing how other teams are going at it. And the people that have had the most success against us are the people that they've allowed them to foul against us. And that's fine, if that's what they want to do, but that's not consistent with what, we're being told at the national office and the conference office on how things are being called. When people call it that way, now when we're getting into those bonuses, Zach, he drew 10 fouls the last game, so they called it. Right. But when you go back and watch the film, well, that's what they're doing. They just don't think the refs can call it every single time. Other night, the refs called it. They called it, and when you go back and watch them, they're fouls. Like if they missed anything, they should have had more, on them because they're fouling him more. He's such a tough cover. I don't think people realize because of his improvement and his size and his strength how much better he's gotten until they play against him. Mm-hmm. So if he can utilize that and slow down a little bit and just make his moves, now they really put him in a bind. But he's doing some really good things, and he just has to continue to do so.
So is it just the volume of calls that you think is a little kind of off kilter, or is it anything specific they're doing that they're not calling?
Here's what they do. They won't say this, but here's what they do, and they can't do it with him. When you deal with a good player and you get a foul on a good player, and he fouls Zach, he's going to do everything in his power not to get another foul because he wants to stay in the game. Whereas when you get to the backup, they're using his fouls. Like they're just, if they got 3 centers, like they want the one guy to play. Mm-hmm. They want the other 2 to get the fouls for them. So that's what they want. But officials have always said, okay, I called a hand check on you, and then I called a hand check on you, and now we've balanced this out and everything's good. I've called 2 hands in the back on you and 2 hands in the back on you, and now it's 1-1 and everything's good. Well, what if you fouled 7 times and you fouled once? Well, shouldn't you be called for 7 fouls and you'd be called for 1, but yet we just got 1 and 1 and we even it up? Well, good players want to stay in the game. Well, people that are aggressive, that are deep, that do that, they are just banking on the fact that they won't keep calling it. Now, a good referee is going to keep calling it. Guys that don't get it, don't understand the game, they won't do that. They even things up, when in reality, there's nothing even about how we got to defend a certain post guy versus how someone's got to go with Zach. But that's just basketball in general, because when you get 2 good teams that are evenly matched, that's what normally happens. Just call an early hand check and people stop hand checking. Call an early 2 hands in the back in the post, people will stop doing it. But when it's backups and guys that play 5 to 12 minutes, they're going to keep coming. Did
you think when you got Zach that Isaac would have conditioned everybody to kind of be used to a player like him?
I think they struggled with guarding with him too. I think that was a harder piece. He's got a little more mobility, and he's got he draws a lot of fouls that people don't look at unless you watch film on the glass. So he really works towards rebounding. Zachary does. That's where he's a lot better than Isaac in that area, to where like he can wedge people and he can hold that position and then he can change. So if the ball doesn't come in his area, he still tries to get it. Whereas Isaac, that was hard for Isaac. He was good when it came in his area, but he wasn't chasing rebounds out of his area.
Do you stick with Eric in the starting lineup, or go back to Jaden, or do you like how things are kind of moving?
Yeah, we're going to go back with Eric and Jaden. Eric, Jaden, Sasha, Mason, and Zach. So that'll be who we'll start right there. And Isaiah's been great for us. He's but obviously letting Jaden kind of get back in the fold here. Eric's done some really good things here in the past 4 or 5 games, and so it's a tough decision because I got more than 5 people starting, but Isaiah's done some really good things. But you got to make decisions that that you think is best for the team. And the one thing that Jaden gives you is that punch off the bench. Like when he comes in, it's a hell of a punch, huh? But then I talked to Isaiah about that. It's hard to take that when you've done good things, and now I've started, now I'm not starting. But you also got to look at the big picture of things, and now give us that punch coming off that bench and be ready to roll.
Hey, just to put your shot doctor hat on real quick, Eric Hunter's probably shooting 60+% in Big Ten play from 3. Anything you see from him now that maybe last year kind of got away from him a little bit?
Well, last year's probably a better gauge because he got more opportunities. I think it's hard when you don't get as many opportunities, when guys don't shoot as much. It's not fair to those guys, and that's what really puts it all in perspective, because he's still not getting a lot of opportunities, but yet he's shooting 60%.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's been great for us. He made a huge 3 other night late in the game off a rebound kick out. So, but no, he's just stepped up and shot the ball and really been in rhythm.